Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Hello from Qatar. Qatar? Tier?
Is that what
Whatever
we're
you
talking?
call it. There. Doha. We'll say Doha, this city, because I still don't know how to pronounce Qatar.
Doha.
Qatar. Not bad place so far. My breakfast was delicious. People seem friendly. I just got in last night, so bags under the eyes, a little exhausted, but we missed enough shows. We promised not to do that anymore.
Listen, I'm not promising anything. If we miss a show, we miss a show. It is what it is.
Although I will say, there's a serious battle of wills going on in my life right now.
Will Smith and Will Compton?
The will to drink. Top 20 country with the most expensive beers. Number 1, Qatar. $11.26 for a 33 milliliter bottle of beer. So it's a Muslim country, and so they let you drink, but they don't want you to. So there's 100% tariff on imported beers, and then you need like permits to venues need permits to drink and shit. My buddy who got here before me, he's like, "Oh, I found the deal. This is like the best deal that you can get for drinking in this country." You want to know what that deal is? A 12-pack of Heineken for $100. When a 12-pack of anything is $20, I'm pissed. This is a serious battle.
Hang on. You go to a bar in Hollywood and you pay for parking, and then you freaking pay for some shitty freaking little side food that they give you. And then you pay for the beers. You pay for 6 beers, and you tip out those pretentious freaking bartenders. You're spending more than $100. I think you're okay.
But that's if you go and do that, right? Just to like drink by yourself, like an adult, dare I say?
I mean, look, if you want to do it, $100 is a small price to pay. It's an expense. That's
what I'm saying. It's a real. There's an internal war ravaging inside my soul right now because you know how cheap I am.
You are the cheapest man alive. That's true.
I might be the cheapest man on God's green earth. Like, I got this T-shirt for free maybe 10 years ago, and it's still in regular circulation. And you're asking me to pay $100 American for a 12-pack. There's a war raging. The alcoholic in me might finally lose its first fight of its life.
You are cheaper than you are an alcoholic. I'll tell you that.
It's the one thing stronger than my insatiable desire to drink. Is how cheap.
The clutch you got on that dollar is strong.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Raiders were cheap on the roster this season, and it's kind of going that way. Raiders Cowboys on Monday Night Football. The Raiders were a minor speed bump in the Cowboys' return from a bye week. And this is the other part, as embarrassing as that loss was on Monday, as just like a shellacking, complete like fart in the wind, the Raiders' performance was. Is that even top 5 most embarrassing losses this season? Does it even make the top 5?
No, and I think the big reason why it doesn't is because this isn't the pre-bye Cowboys team. They got 3 players back from injury. And they traded for 2 starters on defense. This is not the same team that was the pre-bye Cowboys. Siobhan Revel was starting corner. Malik Hooker, starting safety. And Overshown, linebacker, who didn't start but played. Then you have Logan Wilson, they traded for. And, of course, Quinton Williams they traded for. So it's like 5 starters, 5 new starters, or 4 new starters and a rotation guy that they got in. And, I mean, Overshown was starting for him until he hurt himself. So, yeah, they basically got back 5 starters, five upgrades to what they had in the past. So, I mean, that's the only reason why it's not one of the top 5.
It's still not a good defense. It's better than like knocking on the door of the worst defense when they had all those injuries, but it's still not good. Offense is legit. Offense is really,
they're really good.
Really cream of the crop. And it'll be exactly opposite this week, right? With the Browns' amazing defense, and now this version of the Browns' offense might be the worst in football. We'll get to that later, but I mean, that's what I was talking like because it was prime time. Obviously, the conversation is more national and more eyeballs on it. There's more spotlights on things, and like, oh man, this is what an eye opener. Or this is the end. Like this is like all of Raider Nation was like, no, this is exactly what's going to happen. This is exactly what's going to happen. The Cowboys are going to put up over 30 on a bad defense. Raiders can put up a touchdown or two, and it's just going to be that. Right? Like the national media is like, oh my God, why can't Chip Kelly get the run game going? Well, that's been the whole season. Not a shocker. Who on the defense can step up other than Maxx? Nobody. But that's been the whole season. Why isn't Pete Carroll playing the rookies? We don't know. We don't know.
I'm sure we have a little bit of an idea.
We have we have theories. We have little theories. That's what everyone's been asking.
We might get some new information on that. Stay tuned.
But it was. So there were actually a couple parts of this game that I thought was the certain parts of the Raiders taking a pretty decent turn, like towards the right direction. And I'll tell you in a second, but just it wasn't even top 5 most embarrassing losses, but there were 3 of the top 10 most embarrassing plays this season. There were some really bad ones. Pickens running all over our DBs after he beat Kyle Kelly, and everyone just kind of like had their hands in their pockets.
Kyle Kelly in general.
Then, dude, that perfect there was that perfect onside like punt kick. AJ Cole hit it perfectly. Like that's going to be an instructional videos for the foreseeable future. Like that's exactly how, if you have an opportunity after a 2-point conversion and you kick it, it can be like a punt. That's a live ball before it hits the ground. And there's 3 Raiders players just like right around the ball. And then one of them, I forgot who it was. It wasn't a starter, so I didn't know who it was. But it bounced like next to him, and then plays like, oh shit. He was like scared of the live football on an onside kick. And special teams was pretty good till that point. Daniel Carlson made all his field goals,
he covered kicks well. That's coaching. If your players don't know the situation and the rules going into a situation, that's coaching. You got to make sure you put the guys out there who know what they're doing.
Probably the most embarrassing play is when the game was already out of reach. We're still on the other side of the 2-minute warning. It's like 2:40. And the Cowboys are getting ready to take a knee on like the 8-yard line or whatever it was, right? They're already like, okay. That's the one thing Pete Carroll brings to this team is that all coaches respect him, so they're not going to try to rub it in. They go to take a knee, and there's too many men on the field for the Raiders. And not 2 men. There wasn't 12 players on that field. There's like 13 or 14. Players. The Raiders can't even take mercy right without shitting the bed.
My biggest takeaway is that the offensive line is god-awful. This is the worst offensive line in the league by a lot. And the lack of depth and this coaching staff is not doing a good job of bringing along the young players. I don't think any rookie on this team right now is more equipped to play than they were when the year started. I don't think they've advanced that much. Were they much better than they were when I don't think that's been going on. We're going to hear something in a little bit about a rookie, but I don't think that's happened to any rookie. I don't think Ashton Jeanty is any better than he was when he started. Jack Bech, no. Darien Porter, maybe a little, but not really. He's not even playing. The lineman can't get on the field. The defensive lineman can on the field. And that's it for the rest of it. Lindenberg's been a freaking special teamer the whole year. So it's like, what's happening? Where's the development here? Right? And when Pete took over, I heard this analogy, and I riffed on it on one of my videos. Basically, Pete comes in, it's like, okay, you want to remodel your bathroom? No problem. We'll take the old tub out, put the new one in, and we'll put some new tile up, and it'll look great. So he goes in there, and he pulls the tile up, and he's like, oh, the floor is rotten. We got to go ahead and take that floor out, and then we'll put the new floor in, and then we'll fix it and put the tub in, no problem. He pulls the floor out. Oh, your pipes are messed up. they're all broken and messed up, and we got to fix your pipes. And the more he digs, the worse it gets. So that $5,000, $10,000 remodel turns into a lot more expensive rebuild. And he keeps looking and he keeps looking and he keeps looking, and he's like, man, there's a lot more. This is now a full demolition and build up from the ground. And that's where we are right now, because every year.
But the problem is he's already halfway through the paint job. He's already installed the new tub, and you're like, we got to go to the bare bones.
You got to go and take it all out. You got to take it all out. We got to take it all out. And the thing is look at it from this perspective, people. Okay, this is what RJ and I have been talking about. You get a contractor to come in. He agrees to do the remodel only, ignoring some of the other stuff. You don't like the way things are going because it can't pass inspection or whatever, and you hire another guy. What is he going to do? He's going to tear what the other guy did down, and he's going to try to do it himself, his way. And then you don't like that, so you fire that contractor, and you get another one in. Meanwhile, your floorboards are still rotting. Over time, they're getting worse. Your pipes are still getting worse because they haven't been switched out and fixed. So that's what's happening to this roster. That's what's happening to this team. It's rotting slowly, year after year after year, getting worse and worse and worse. And I keep hearing the same things over and over again. Fire Pete, fire Spytek. Why? Because you wanted Josh McDaniels gone, and he's gone. Now you wanted AP. Now you wanted AP gone, and he's gone. So the whoever comes in is not going to make this team a playoff team next season. It's not going to happen, okay? Because we talk about the Lions. Guess what the Lions did? The 3 years before they got Jared Goff, they drafted most of their team starters, most of their best players on their team they drafted in those 3 years prior to getting Jared Goff. We haven't done that. Not by a long shot. So their roster was ready for that rebuild. We are not. We are in a very poor spot right now. We need 3, 4 maybe offensive linemen. We need 3 starting defensive linemen. There's no one on this defensive line that I would keep. Adam Butler maybe, but the other guys, they're not starting caliber. They're not what the Dallas. We have to compare ourselves to the best. We don't have anywhere near that. We're probably one of the worst defensive lines in the NFL as far as changing games. Maybe not stat-wise, but changing games, yeah. We do a good job of stuffing the run. But when we need to get the quarterback on the ground, it's Maxx Crosby or bust. That's it. Malcolm Koonce ain't doing a goddamn thing. We gave him a bunch of money to shit the bed. The guys on the inside aren't getting a push. Our linebackers are doing all right, but they're past their prime, and they're getting exposed in coverage. Our secondary is a fucking mess. That's just the defensive side. Don't even talk about – I touched a little bit on the offensive line, but my God. Colton Miller's on his last contract. He's your best offensive lineman by far. So there's a lot wrong with this team. And it's not all Geno Smith, and it's not all Chip Kelly, and it's not all Pete Carroll, and it's not all Patrick Graham, and it's not all John Spytek, and it's not all Tom Brady or even Mark Davis. It's the mindset going in. So maybe I guess you could put it on Mark Davis. But the mindset going in, we need to understand something. What are we doing here? Because right now, and I know I'm going a little long, but right now, here's the problem that we're having here, okay? Trotting out there a bunch of guys that we know aren't going to be a future. Will Putnam's not the future of this offensive line. Hell, neither is Jordan Meredith, for that matter. And DJ Glaze shouldn't be either. He's not very good. They're not the future. We need to find ways to mix these young. I'm not saying to start them all the time. I'm saying to mix these guys in, maybe on a jumbo package or something, to be able to get these guys. None of these guys are better. So what's the mindset here? If Pete Carroll is trying to win games, I understand that. You're trying to win games with players that you know you're not going to have next year. Because if these are the same players that we have next year, we got a whole other problem. Because they're not going to manage to just get better just because the coach changes. You need talent to win, and we don't have it.
Pete Carroll's the slumlord that hires the contractor that like the foundation's cracked and the roof is going to collapse, but he's just like, no, just put a new flower bed out front and a lacquer of paint over it.
Murder? What murder? Foundation crack? What foundation crack?
That's a load-bearing poster. No, I mean, it's no doubt about it, right? We've been screaming this from the rooftops on this show for weeks now. But this is the part that gets me the most. This is the part that fucking
that really fucking twists your giblets.
Body shots my liver that's going to be very healthy after my stint in Qatar. People say, how can you go to Maxx Crosby or Brock Bowers and say, we're going to play the young guys because we're playing for next season? Like, these guys want to win now. Pete wants to win now. How can you go into a game and be like, no, we're not trying to win. We're playing young guys. You can say that because you can go, hey, Max, do you want to win a Super Bowl or do you want to beat the Browns? He'll understand. He's not stupid, right? So there's that. And B, even bigger, it's not like we're pulling 10-year all-pros for a young guy to play. Kyu Blu Kelly is arguably the worst outside starting corner in football. Darien Porter should, on a team that's trying to go to the Super Bowl, should be in there instead of Kyu Blu Kelly. On the line, Putnam, Kappa, like, these guys are terrible, awful O-linemen. They should be, Pete Carroll, if he wants to compete and wants to win tomorrow, should be going to the team and saying, Putnam, Kappa, I know Kappa didn't start, but like he started a lot, right? Like, you guys are not delivering to the standard that we need. So we're going to keep finding guys until we do. Kyu Blu Kelly, you see the stats from them, like you gave up 2 touchdowns last week. You are not the caliber of player that we need. We're going to keep putting guys in until we find someone who can. If we were trying to win the Super Bowl, these guys should not be starting. So this idea is like, well, Pete wants to win right now. Does he? Because he's starting guys that fucking blow. And maybe these young, day 2 picks, maybe they're not ready when the bright lights are out. But let's find out.
Try.
Because we know the guys that are in there definitely aren't ready when the bright lights are on. We know for a fact Kyu Blu Kelly is not going to help this team win. Maybe Darien Porter can. That's the other part, so that blows me away. Is like, well, you can't blame Pete for trying to win now. Yes, you can, because if that's his goal, he's doing that part shitty.
Yeah, so there's something to be said for wanting to win now, and I understand that. But you can still try to win and play young players. It's not like you're putting young players in there and you're not coaching them and you're not putting together a game plan. You're putting young players in there to see, because look, part of your job is developing for the future, developing your roster. If you know for a fact Will Putnam, I like Will Putnam. I'm only picking on him because he got picked on Monday. I've never seen somebody get pushed back. So he looked like a freaking toddler, just getting picked up and pushed back. It was terrible. But you know that he's not the future. He's been in the NFL for a few seasons now. He's not going to be any more than a practice squad player anywhere. I think on any regular offensive line, if we put 3 legit starters, not even superstars, but legit starters on this offensive line, they would start and they would push everyone else back. So Putnam would be on the practice squad, okay? And that's who he is. That's what he is. And I'm not picking on Putnam because we have several guys on the offense that are like that and some guys on the defense that are like that too. So why are you continuing to play knowing that they're not going to help you win in the future? That is your job as a head coach. Now, you can win. You're out of the playoffs. Even if you win, 7 straight? 7 more games, you're 9-8. It's still a very outside chance you make the playoffs at 9-8. Okay? So once you're out, you're out. You need to start focusing on how to grow. And that's another part of this job that I don't think Pete, I get what and I understand. If he doesn't have confidence in the young guys on the offensive line, I think he respects and loves Geno too much to put those young guys in front of him if they're not even practicing well. But you have to try something else, You have to dig into the free agent pool and see who's out there on other practice squads to help get this offensive line to play better, because the guys that you're putting out there right now, it's not working. There has to be better guys out there than the guys that we're setting out.
Everything you're saying is 100% true, but it's also irrelevant too. Like, it's 100% what the Raiders should be doing, but in this specific circumstance, it honestly shouldn't matter. If the Raiders were 10-0 right now, they should be like, who do we have in this team that can replace Kyle Blue Kelly? If the Raiders were 10-0, Pete Carroll should be like, Darien Porter, let's see if you can be the guy, because Kyle Blue Kelly has proven he's not that guy. Same thing with Alex Kappa, Will Putnam recently. You're like, if we were 10-0, you'd be like, guys, you're not getting the job done. That was an embarrassment on Sunday, and it's been an embarrassment this entire season. Caleb Rogers is your turn, right? Like, so you're right. Like, that should be the mentality. Get the young guys getting some reps, getting ready for next season and beyond. But even if that wasn't the case, we're not asking to pull Colton Miller for a second-day rookie. We're not asking to pull Maxx Crosby for a third-day rookie. We're trying to replace the worst players on one of the worst O-lines and one of the worst defenses in football for someone who might be better. Like, that, it's on every metric. It makes no sense.
Yeah, this is something that I had a mini meltdown on the show, because the things that are happening just don't make sense. And one of three, and I text you guys this, one of three things, or a combination of three things, are happening right now. Number one, Pete Carroll just doesn't want to play young players. He doesn't want to play rookies. He doesn't want to play them. And when he's forced to, because he doesn't have other players in the position, he's not giving them any action. That's possible. Number two, the guys just aren't good enough. They're trying their best. We always hear about how good these practices are, and I'll get to that in a second. But these rookies are trying, and they're just not good enough to get on the field. Well, that's a scouting problem. Because if you're trying, if you're working with them, and they're not getting any better, or they're not up to code, third-round picks should be contributors to your team. Maybe not starters, but they should contribute. And we got three of them, and neither one of them are contributing. Hell, the second-round pick isn't contributing. Now, the third one is they're just not developing, which is a coaching issue. They're good enough, they have promise, but they're not developing fast enough. Halfway through the season, if your guys aren't ready to go, that's a coaching issue. If they're good enough, if they have the talent, but you're not getting them ready, that's a coaching issue. So it could be one, two, or all three of those things. That's the problem. And if it is, it's a major problem, because you have a major issue that's a cornerstone of your franchise. The game day play, the game day decision making and play, the scouting and development, and the scouting and drafting, and then the development of the pillars. Those are the three pillars. What else is there?
I feel like the Raiders, there was a level of self-awareness that happened this last weekend that we haven't seen yet. And that's at least a start, right? Here's the like I feel we have this conversation every week, Soto, because it needs to be had every week. But if you're looking for a silver lining, right? If you're looking for a glass half full, there was a couple self-awareness moments for the Raiders over the weekend. I thought this was one of Chip Kelly's better games. He called a game like he finally understood his O-line is shit. He finally understood that. It wasn't running on every first down into a brick wall like it's been. He was doing a lot of play action, a lot of bootleg. He was getting Ashton Jeanty involved in the passing game, in the screen game. I feel like he told Geno Smith, like, don't be afraid to use I know you're 35, but those legs still work. It was one of Geno Smith's best, like, scrambling run games. Again, not a good game by Geno, but the things we've been screaming about, they finally started to get together. Now the game plan fell apart halfway, like, through the second quarter. But those first couple drives are like 3 play action plays on first down, and they all got first downs. Like, you got to get Geno. Geno cannot take a 5-step drop and wait 3 seconds and throw.
Even less this week.
Even like 2.1, right? Like, you just can't have him do that. So get him moving, move the target, get him. You know what I mean? Like, give him a chance to run out of bounds or scramble for three or throw it away or just like give him a chance, right? So it's like that part was input into the game plan. And that's like, okay, Chip Kelly's like, what I'm doing is not working. This O-line is garbage. I have to stop assuming I have a good O-line where Geno Smith can like sit behind there and run through reads at dial-up speed. It's like, nope, Geno, you're starting here, you're going there, and you're throwing it there. That's it. And there were a lot of plays like that. So all the bitching and stuff we've been talking about is still the problem. But this is the first time, or maybe like the second or third time this season, Soto, where I feel like the coaching staff, at least on the offensive side, was like, okay, here's the problem. How can we get creative around it? And it wasn't the whole game, because then Chip went back to his 5-step drop, sit back, see what happens, not creative run plays, specifically in the second half. But at least it started out with some creativity, and it worked. Until we stalled in the red zone, the Raiders moved the ball pretty well in the first 3 drives.
Yeah, and the problem with the red zone is it magnifies every issue that you have on offense. No team is like, they can't move the ball, but boy, are they great in the red zone. Like, no, it just doesn't work that way. So every issue that we have is magnified. Geno holds the ball too long. Geno's late with throws. The protection breaks down, penalties, all that, can't run the football consistently. All that stuff magnifies in the red zone, which is why we're so terrible in the red zone, because we have a bad offense anyway. The issue or the realization that I think the team came to, and that I think everyone in Raider Nation came to on Monday, is that we're just not good. It's not bad coaching. It's not bad play calling. It's not, Geno Smith is terrible, or this guy's terrible, or Pete is terrible. The entire team lacks talent. And I think we knew that when we signed a bunch of one-year guys and we patched together an offensive line. We signed basically one guy to help fix the offensive line. And then we put a backup guard in at center. So these things that are happening are the issue. It's very just disjointed, because you knew that you had issues on this team. And I know that Pete Carroll knows better, and I know that John Spytek's been around long enough. He's been around multiple Super Bowl winning teams to understand where a team is. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't try his best around the confines of what he needed to do. I think Spytek knew, hey, I can't go all in on a bunch of heavy long-term contracts right now because we're not there yet. We have a lot of holes on this roster. Well, if you have a lot of holes on this roster, what the hell are you doing taking a running back 6? Why don't you trade out and get more picks and fortify your roster that way? And it's a lot of conflicting ideologies. And you draft a running back 6 because he's going to be a difference maker on your team, right? That's the only reason you do it, is because your player you got in the first round is supposed to be a different. He can't be a difference maker if he's averaging a league worst or a league high or a league low, yards before contact, and he's leading the league in being stuffed, which is no gain or negative yardage on run plays. That's offensive line, and it just didn't make sense to do that and put this young guy out there to get the shit kicked out of him when you didn't do anything for the offensive line. And it was Sanjeet who said it, and I remember this. He tweeted out, he's like, putting Ashton Jeanty behind this offensive line would be a waste. It's a waste of a pick because you're not going to get what you should get out of him.
Well, it's the example I kept using. We bought a Ferrari and we put him on a highway where the speed limit's 55 miles an hour. It's like,
it's a situation that didn't
make that job done.
Yeah, and so now, and I understand. You cannot put anybody in the NFL. I don't care who it is. You cannot put any quarterback in the NFL onto this roster and make it a Super Bowl contending team. You can't. Nobody. I'm talking Josh Allen. I'm talking Patrick Mahomes. I'm talking all the good ones, all the top guys. You put them on this roster. This roster is still well below. Take away quarterback, but the entire roster is still well below any other roster that you can think of. Maybe not the Browns offensively, but defensively, they're way better. We are just a bad roster. Us and the Titans are probably two of the worst rosters in the NFL, and it's not even close. The other guys actually have stuff. Like the Giants are another 2-win team, but man, they got the quarterback they want. They got some guys on the outside. And Malik Neighbors got hurt. That was part of the issue. They got some fucking badass defensive line. Like they got some stuff.
They have my favorite draft class. Their rookie class is
they got some. They got some shit. They got some shit over there. What do we have? Right. So, hear me out. No matter where we land in this draft, a quarterback, even a generational quarterback, which I don't think is in this draft class, is going to help this team get us to where we need to go faster. We need to build around that. We need to build the team up and be able to, when we do decide to get a young quarterback, put him in a good situation. Now, can we hit the fast forward button like the New England Patriots did and sign a bunch of big name guys? They spent a ton of money this last offseason, and they were all starters, and all those guys are contributing big. Can we do that? Maybe. Maybe we have a lot of money, but it's only going to be a couple of spots. So what do? Let's say you can sign 5 free agents. What positions would you sign? 5 big money guys, and the rest of them are going to be duds. The rest of them are going to be 1-year guys. So what do you sign?
Quarterback, corner, defensive tackle, right tackle.
Well, not quarterback, because this is assuming we're going to draft a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing with our team. And
there's so many. There's so many holes.
Like that's why this should be the biggest no-brainer draft ever. Outside of tight end and running back, every single room for the Raiders needs starters, immediate backups, and developmental players. Right? Every room needs those 3. Who's our starters? Who are the guys that can jump right in and back up? And who are like the day 3 picks that we're developing these guys, the cheap guys we picked up late in drafts that they're developing. Every single room needs all 3 phases of that, other than tight end and running back. This should be the easiest draft ever. Best player available every draft, because every room, it's not like we can draft too many corners or too many linebackers or too many linemen. Like,
I'm John Spytek.
Man, we already have 2 really good starters. This like nope, not a single place, not a single room.
John Spytek needs to kick his feet up and say, we are open for business. We are open for business in the first round. We are open for business in the second round. We are open for business in the third round. After that, you really don't get a lot of return on your dollar for those draft picks. So let's just wheel and deal like you did last season, but start in the first round. Trade back twice in the first round, like you did in the second round. Trade back and get more picks, get more players. That's what we need to do, because the players that we're getting right now, you're much more apt to find starters and heavy contributors moving forward in the draft than you are out of washouts and one year guys.
And so
plus they're more expensive.
Let's say we do that, right? What's the next step? You develop and play those guys.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you have to do, right? Specifically day 2 picks. Those guys need some unless you really know you're hiring a project in like round 3. You're like, dude, this tackle's 6'8", 340 pounds, Olympic shot putter. He just never played football before. It's like,
I think Charles Grant is that. Charles Grant is a guy that had crazy good feet. He was a little undersized. He needs to put some weight on, put some strength on. But his movement skills, movement, yeah, played in FBS. His movement skills are as good as any lineman that I saw on tape. Just the way he moved, and it transferred into preseason. But he needs time, and I get that. I understand that it's a heavy project, just like Lucky Tassi. Dude was a freaking bulldozer when he got into the game and he got his hands on somebody. Somebody was getting moved around. Hey, these are guys you can build for in the future. But Caleb Rogers is not that. Caleb Rogers is a 4-year starter or a 4-year captain or 3-year captain at Texas Tech, played all up and down the line. This is a guy that should have come in to be ready to play.
Jack Bech, I mean, the list goes on and on, right? So we talk about self-awareness and guys not doing shit. I really like Ted Nguyen. He's X's and O's guys for The Athletic. Really like him. I think he knows his stuff. He puts me to sleep listening to him talk. Like his podcast, like kind of hard to get through. You know, he'd be a superstar if he had a little more personality, but he knows his stuff. So we like Ted Nguyen here. Mm-hmm. But he kind of got a little bit over the weekend. So after the game,
this is rough.
He tweets out with 3 different edits. First thing he tweeted out, according to a source with the Raiders, the staff tried to start rookie guard Caleb Rogers initially, but in practice he was so bad with just getting basic assignments down that it felt it would be disrespectful to other players to start him just because of draft position. Moments later, he edited it and tweeted this out. According to a source with the Raiders, the staff tried to start rookie guard Caleb Rogers initially, but in practice, he struggled. And they felt it would be disrespectful to other players to start him just because of draft position. Charles Grant is still too raw as of right now. He edited it again, and this is the last time he edited it. Ted Nguyen's like, okay, we finally got this right. And it was just 2 sentences. According to a source with the Raiders, the staff tried to start guard Caleb Rogers initially, but in practice, he struggled. He still got the grammar wrong. Charles Grant is still too raw as of right now to play. He cut out the part where he said it'd be disrespectful to other players. So again, like Ted Nguyen, I think he really knows his football. When he breaks down Raider film, I never miss it. I think he's great. Not a newsbreaker, nor does he pretend to be, right? He's not a Schefter. He's not I got sources, I'm going to work them, blah, blah, blah type guy. But he put that out.
And also, he owns that much Bitcoin.
And also, the tape don't lie guys said the exact same thing. Another X's and O, and they'll be the first ones to tell you, we're not newsbreakers. We're not, beat writers. We're tape guys. We do X's and O's and stuff like that.
Bitches and hoes.
So multiple non-breaking news analysts on the exact same topic, using almost the exact same verbiage, discuss the exact same Raider situation on the exact same day. Soto, you've been in this game a while. What does that tell you?
I don't think that this was just a stroke of conscience by Ted Nguyen. Mm-hmm. I don't think that Jiminy Cricket was on his shoulder saying, maybe you should change that. I think there was a voice in his ear telling him to change it, but it wasn't Jiminy Cricket, and it wasn't his conscience. I think somebody told him, maybe you should change that.
I'm not saying Ted Nguyen or the tape don't lie guys are lying. I'm very confident that a source in the Raiders told them that. But the source in the Raiders told them something very specific, and they wanted it out there for a reason. Stuff doesn't leak on accident, right?
Oh, no.
Unless you're dealing with like these like great media companies with like a dozen writers who are literally like going through Freedom of Information Act info in the back of dumpsters, like taking shredded documents and taping them together. And these things take like months and years to do. Like outside of that, anything that's breaking news that leaks is leaked on purpose by someone who wants it out there.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders knew how bad they fucked up with this offensive line and the mutiny that's going on inside Raider Nation for not giving Caleb Rogers at least a chance to prove he's not ready, or at worst get some reps he desperately needs over a bunch of players that aren't going to be on the team next year, most likely. Or should not be contributors next season. They're on a PR mission. And they can't even do that right, Soto. Like they couldn't even make it. They made it so transparent what they're doing. They can't even damage control without having too many men on the field.
It's a rough situation, man. It's a rough situation because what we're doing here is we're making things, as in the Raiders, are making things so obvious because their screw up is incredibly obvious. And it's just it's a bad situation all around. Mm-hmm. And Yeah, man, it's tough. It's a tough situation. It's not an easy fix. But you know what? It wasn't easy to get to this point either. That's the problem. Is we had to make multiple mistakes to get to this point. And it's very difficult when people aren't trying to make those mistakes to actually do it. And we did. We made a ton of mistakes with this offensive line, and now we're having to deal with it.
So we've talked about the primary issue plaguing the Raiders right now is everyone's on different pages, right? Some people are trying to win right now. Some people are trying to win next season. Some, like everyone's like no one's on the same page, right? I feel like John Spytek is on the page the Raiders should be on. He came into the Raiders last season, saw this roster and said, this team ain't ready. This team ain't ready. And the good guys that we have on this team that are going to be free agents, they're all overpriced. So I don't think there was a single guy that we let go last season, Soto, that you and I were mad about when we saw the price. Spillane, I kind of said that's a little bit more than it should go, but there was part of me that kind of wanted Spillane, but Merrick,
he was the only one that I was bummed about.
Yeah, everyone else were like, damn, I wish I could keep him, but we're not paying $27 million for Hobbs. Sorry, not going to happen, right? So it's like, okay, let him go. And I think Spytek said, okay, I'm not paying that much for these guys. We're not going to pay the same going rate for somebody else. So this is a rebuild, and it should have been. It was this team is needed to be in a rebuild. And so I understood people, hated Spytek with this like linebacker core because it's a bunch of 1-year rentals of a bunch of guys that at best are just one-dimensional and at worst just not good. But it's like, no, I get what he's doing, right? You get a bunch of 1-year dudes that flash one thing really well, or they were good at one point and have decent traits, and maybe it works. And if it doesn't, you risk nothing, right? They're like $3 million dudes, $5 million, $2 million dudes. Like, okay, like I get it, right? Instead of going out and spending $32 million 4 years on a true starter. Spytek saw this coming. And I had time on my hands because it was a 15-hour flight here and I had great Wi-Fi. So I went back and I found the interview where this like struck my brain. This is in The Athletic. This is the week after week 1. So before game 2. This is right after. So mind you, this is after the Raiders just beat the Patriots. Okay. Geno Smith had 300 something yards. We were all hyped. It's like, wow, good, right? Starting off right, beat Josh McDaniels, Vrabel's, first game as head coach of the Pats. Like, we're all kind of patting ourselves on the back a little bit. We're like, nice, this thing's all right. Things are working. We got a W out of the gate. So in that vein, Spytek still said this: slow is smooth and smooth is fast. We're not going slow, but it is going smooth. But we're being patient with the right way to do this. He stressed, because remember he was on like a PR camp, like an interview, like tour. Like he was like, you couldn't turn around every week without him doing an interview, right? And he always said the same thing. And it's easy to say that in the middle of draft season. It's easy to say that in preseason. He said this into the season after a week 1 win. He was saying, be patient. Slow and steady wins the race. We're going to be smart. We got to make sure we build the right foundation. Even after we were 1-0, Spytek was still, this is what we need to do. And I feel like part of me, Soto, because I don't know Spytek. We know who Spytek is, but until they're a Raider, we don't know like their core, their DNA yet. Mm-hmm. Part of me was kind of like, oh, Spytek, maybe he likes the limelight a little bit. He's been in the shadows of a GM for a while, for his whole career, and now he's finally the man. And, people like being liked. A lot of people like being interviewed. Maybe he just likes the spotlight a little bit. Okay, well, more power to him, Well, I get it. I love the attention. I have my entire life. But now, Soto, when I read that back now, going into week 12, I think he was on a mission to desperately say to any outlet that'll print it, and I think he was talking to Pete Carroll. I think he was out here saying, slow and steady. He's because what we talk about all the time, coaches will talk at the podium, but they'll talk to the media, but really they're talking to players. Mm-hmm. I feel like Spytek's entire interview campaign was to try to get to Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll's like, we're going to win now. I know no other way. I know no other way but to win. Like I don't lose. It's not my way. We just win. Spytek's like, slow and steady.
Slow down, Haas.
Build a foundation. Play the young guys. Let's not spend too much this season because it's going to go to nowhere. Develop, build. Like, I might have gotten Spytek all wrong. I thought he was kind of an attention whore, and normally, as an attention whore, I can know my own kind. But I think he was campaigning to try to get Pete Carroll to see the light. In hindsight, that's what it feels like to me.
I think that, well, first I agree, and I bought into it a little bit because I understand what Pete Carroll has been able to do. And no, Pete Carroll is not too old, and he hasn't forgotten. He's not going senile. And that's not the issue that we're having here. The issue that we're having, and Chip Kelly proved that he can put together a good game plan in the NFL. The issue that we're having here is we're not good enough talent-wise. And I think that was on purpose, very similar to when Reggie McKenzie took over. Remember, he said, we have to have a deconstruction year. We got to get rid of all these bad Stanford route and all these contracts that are bad. We got to get rid of these contracts, and then we can build. That's this year. But Pete Carroll comes in, and he only knows a specific way. So, yeah, Pete Carroll, sorry you're going to bang your head against the wall, but you're just not going to have the horses to win. It's just not going to work out for you because the margins are so thin. Every single team in the NFL, no matter how good or bad they are, have legit really good players on their team. Even us. We have like 3-4 really good players, like some elite players. Like every team has them, right? But so the margin is very thin in the NFL. Okay, the freaking Dolphins blew out the freaking Bills. Like, what the hell happening here, right?
We beat the Pats.
We beat the Patriots. The Patriots are in first place. So look, I get it. I understand it. And I don't think Spytek is going anywhere because I think
– hope not.
Mark Davis is going to do what Tom Brady is telling him to do. And Spytek is Tom Brady's guy. That's his dude. He's the guy that brokered that deal to get him to Tampa Bay. He got him Gronk, right? He got him a freaking ring. He's the guy that Tom Brady wanted. And that's why he's there. And no, it's not that he's not good. That's the only reason. No, he's there because he's the guy that he picked to lead this franchise and the rebuild. And Mark Davis is going to do what Tom Brady tells him to do. Because Mark Davis, what has he said from day one? And I applaud him for this. I don't know shit. I don't know what I'm doing. I hire people who know what they're doing. Well, now he brought in Tom Brady, gave him a sweetheart deal on the price, right? Cut him a deal on the price, cut him in. Now tell me what to do. And we've heard so much. I'm not going to tell you who said it, but we've heard as much as people are just looking to Tom Brady. Hey, what the heck were we supposed to do?
It would be amazing if Mark Davis was like a football genius. Like that'd be awesome. That'd be fantastic, right? If your owner also like really, really knew football and you can use him as a resource. But it's kind of like
cut it real quick. Tom Brady is a football genius.
Mark Davis,
him or hate him.
Mark Davis is doing exactly what like the most you can ask of any NFL owner. Write the huge check and get out of the way. Right? That's all you can ask, right?
Exactly what he's doing.
Is Chip Kelly overpaid? Absolutely. But Mark did his job. He's like, who do you want? Who do you want? How many zeros? How many commas? Done deal. Right? That's all you can ask. Right? It's like, I'm not going to, like, if you have a girlfriend who's Valentina Shevchenko and she can defend you, like, that's a nice bonus. But like, no, I will defend my girlfriend. Like when we go out, I'm the dude, I'm in charge of protection. Like, I'm not going to ask my girlfriend to like, protect my child. That's my job, right? Same thing with an NFL owner. If you're an owner and you know football and you're great, like cool. Like that's an awesome bonus. That's not normally the case. Really, all we ask for.
How's Jerry trade looking now?
Right?
Looking not too bad.
Sometimes, blind squirrel, nuts, wrong clock twice a day, whatever. Mark Davis is paying the money, and that's all you want. That's all you want from an owner. Here's the check. Gets out of the way. All right, let's get into Raiders Browns. Raiders we're favorites. I guess it makes sense. Browns are terrible. -3.5 point favorites in Las Vegas Sunday. Both are on 3-game losing streaks. And this game is going to get a lot of national attention for a pair of 2-8 teams because Shedeur Sanders is going to be starting. And he took over the entire draft for not getting drafted. That's when the attention is there. Remember there was a time when Tiger Woods wouldn't win a tournament? That was the headline. He was the story for not winning at golf. That's Shedeur. He's the story for not getting drafted. And this will be his first designated starter, first team reps, starter out of the gate. This will be his first game. So there's going to be a lot of attention. The national spotlight will be on this random 2-8 game on Sunday.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's a good thing for us. Maybe it might be. Maybe it might be because it might stop some of this insanity, And I was listening to Hondo Carpenter earlier today, and I just wanted different perspectives on what's happening right now. I listened to Rich Eisen, listened to some Florio. I'm like, let me get some different voices. And he said something that was really funny because I remember these commercials. Stop the insanity, the commercials, right? And that's what I've been saying for a long time. We just have to stop. Stop with the fire this guy, fire that guy. Stop with it. Stop. Pick a direction and move forward. I've been saying that for a long time now. Pick a direction and move forward. We've picked a direction now. Is Pete Carroll your guy long term? No, he's not because he's too old. He said as much. He doesn't know how much time he has, he says, left to coach. But he's going to be able to instill a work ethic and a mindset into this team. This team is still playing hard. The team is not giving up. They're still playing hard. The fact that you hear every single week, we're practicing hard, we're playing hard with this and that, and they're still losing by a lot sometimes, it's because they're not talented enough. So maybe we need to get whooped on again to just say, dude, we're just not good enough. The other teams are just better talent than us.
Well, we just talked about because it was a Monday night game, the Raiders went on this PR damage control campaign to be like, oh, this is why we didn't start Caleb Rogers. It's like, okay, well, if there's more spotlight on it, Pete, why aren't you starting young guys? Chip, why aren't you being more flexible and more diverse? Special teams, why do you suck asshole so bad? That could be good, right? Sometimes if you got a black eye, you want your boys to make fun of you. So you go back into the gym and learn to keep your hands up, Sometimes it's nice to see that black eye and you guys, start paying attention more. This really feels like the game of which coach understands the season is over more. It really does feel that way. Because what's the real reason? What's the main reason to pay attention to this game? Draft status.
Mm-hmm.
Draft pick, right? According to Tankathon, the Raiders will have the 6th overall pick and the Browns will have the 3rd overall pick. There's 4 teams at 2-8, but the Raiders have the best, the toughest schedule, right? So it's because they play in such a tough division and then the random teams they play that we thought would suck, the Patriots, who the Raiders beat by somehow, they're doing great, right? So the Raiders not only have to have the worst record, but they have to have worse than the next worst record because they're going to lose every tiebreaker. So for those of you hoping to tank, I've got really, really bad news for you because everyone in the top 10, almost every team in the top 10 is a 2-digit underdog this weekend. Titans and Seahawks. The Seahawks are 13-point favorites. Giants and Lions. The Lions are 10.5-point favorites. Browns and Raiders. Raiders are favorites. This is the one kicker. Falcons and Saints. Saints are -1.5. They're on a 2-game win streak. So that's kind of the random one. But then Jets and Ravens. Ravens 2 touchdown favorites. Pats and Bengals. Pats are 7.5-point favorites. And then the other kind of weird one, Cardinals, Jags. Jags are under a field goal favorite. So the Raiders are favored, and almost everyone else is a massive underdog in the top 10. So again, I don't believe in tanking. I think the Raiders need to play on Sunday. Like if the Raiders won on Sunday because things started to jive, Geno got the ball out faster, guys start tackling better, Chip Kelly keeps being more reflective and flexible and changes things up, Ashton Jeanty a little more patient, the O-line meshed a little bit. Like if the Raiders won because they're improving and getting together, like I'm happy. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. If we move from number 6 to number 10 in the draft, but we're going in the right direction and improving as a team, I would take that sacrifice. Absolutely. But if the Raiders win on Sunday because we shot ourselves in the foot 8 times, but the Browns shot themselves in the foot 9 times, then I'm going to be pissed. It's like the Broncos game. The Broncos were begging the Raiders to win that game. And the Raiders, through bad defense and special teams, fucked it up. If the Raiders, like this, that can't be the case on Sunday. That Cleveland is just more fuckery than the Raiders. Then I would be pissed.
Yeah. Because the thing is, that's not building anything. You're not building anything by being less crappy.
You don't take that into next season where it matters.
Yeah, it's a difference between, like, because people want to say, well, the Lions, did this and that, and look at the Bears, what they're doing. Look at what the Bears did the couple of seasons prior to getting Caleb Williams. They invested heavily on their offense and defensive lines in the draft early, guys that are starting on their lines. They went out and they got guys, right? They got who did they get from the Chiefs? They signed a guy started from the Chiefs. They went out and got guys, and then they were still bad enough to get a top pick, and they got Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
But the thing that we're looking at here, or they traded the year before, and then Houston was bad enough to get on Caleb Williams, I guess is what it was. But what we're looking at here is we can't skip steps. We've skipped steps way too much. I think we can agree on that. I think everyone in Raider Nation can agree on that. We've skipped a lot of steps here. We can't skip steps anymore. We don't have you can skip steps when you have legitimate players in certain positions, namely quarterback. No, but if you have a quarterback, that's fine. I think I still think we can win games with Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Geno Smith being Geno Smith, but we can't protect him. And because of the line the way it is, we can't run the football. If we can't do those things, we're not going to be able to win no matter who is under quarterback. I think Geno Smith is a guy that we can move forward with while we develop a young quarterback. And now Tom Brady, and I'm telling you something right now, guys, he does not believe whatsoever in putting a rookie into the game at quarterback. He doesn't believe in doing it. Mm-hmm. He said so many, many times. Okay? So just get ready for that. Just because we drafted that doesn't mean we're going to see him right away.
I really believe that I think it makes smart financial sense to keep Geno next season, because the difference between the cap hit for cutting him and keeping him is only $8 million difference. That's it. It's I think a $16 million cap hit for cut, and it's a $24 million cap hit if he plays. So you're saving $8 million. Might as well keep, it's like a divorce, right? It's cheaper to keep her, right? You might as well keep him and have him, like, exactly to your point. Draft somebody, or we pick someone up, whatever. Let's say Chip sticks around, right? Let's say the offensive pieces stick around, right? He's a year familiar in the system, knows all that kind of stuff, and you develop a guy behind him, and at some point that rookie takes over, either during his rookie season or next season, whatever. Like, it just makes, as bad as Geno's played, it makes sense to keep him financially, and you have someone develop under him. Like, it just, and again, that's why I'm like, don't start Kenny Pickett. Like, he's not starting next year. He's not going to be our starter. Like, it's going to be Geno. Like, Geno will be on.
For anyone that's clamoring for Aiden O'Connell, dude, imagine him behind this offensive line.
I will say he gets the ball out better than Geno.
I don't know, man.
He will at least get that ball.
He's still not as mobile as Geno.
He can't move for shit.
Even though Geno is older and can't move very well, he still moves better than Aiden O'Connell.
I thought he moved great on Monday night. I think he showed
he was fine.
I think that was
whatever
one of his
he did
best.
To that quad of his, he looked fine.
I think, and that's what I'm saying. I think Chip, he's been bad, but I think he did look in the mirror and say, like, self-awareness is one of the hardest things for a human being to do. It is so hard to be like, these are my weaknesses. These are my strengths, but they're not as strong as I think they are. Here's what I got to work on. I think Chip did that a little bit. He's just like, okay, I've been trying to play this type of football. I don't have the O-line to do it. I don't have the quarterback to do it, but this is what I do have. So let's do a bunch of bootleg and play action and screens and tell Geno, like, use your legs a little bit. You're 35. We're not going to make you Lamar Jackson, but if it's open, go. Let's get you moving on a bootleg, right? And if there's nothing there, get 4 yards and get out of bounds or throw it away. Like, we saw some of that, right? And for a $6 million fucking offensive coordinator, it shouldn't take until week 11, but at least it was some of that.
Yeah,
this is the worst game.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, this is the worst game of week 12. But there are a couple interesting things to follow. Again, Shedeur, as bad as week 11, 4 of 16, 47 yards passing, 2.9 yards per attempt, a 13.5 rating. And get this, 3.31 seconds average time to throw. That is a lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
Back there.
What's the average? Like 2.7 or something, like 2.5 or something like that?
Max is going to eat. But the only guy that's going to eat more than Max is Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett's going to.
Dude, this motherfucker has 15 sacks and 22 tackles for a loss already.
He's a beast.
The record's 22 and a half. Geno has taken 10 sacks in the last 10 games.
2 games.
What did I say? 10? Yeah, 10 sacks in the last 2 games. 6 and 4. So it's going to be a fun kind of Myles Garrett versus Maxx Crosby. Like, I'd like to see them both put their dicks on the table and see, like, who can pull it off. So yeah, the Shedeur dumpster fire and Myles Garrett versus Max is kind of like something fun to follow in a game that's going to be almost impossible to enjoy, but we'll be there anyway. Ready to do some web windbags?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
This one's from Twitter at Juan7502. Johnny Gons, another Juan involved. Crazy theory. Is Chip Pete's successor? Chip seems to wield a lot of power, does whatever he wants with the office. In direct contrast of what Pete says he wants, what say you?
It's possible because, I mean, we're talking about hand-picked people. Chip was handpicked by Tom Brady. He wasn't a Pete Carroll hire. That's a Tom Brady hire. So Tom Brady said, I want Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator. That's why they lured him away with the big money from Ohio State. And he got his GM. And the GM did what GM is going to do what Tom Brady wants because Spytek had got the job because of Tom Brady. So now you got to do what I tell you to do. Plus, he's the part owner. So it's possible. It's possible that he's being groomed for that. But does he want it? If he wants it, I mean, it's a possibility. I'm not going to say no.
It would everything says 0% chance, except for what you just brought up. That if Tom Brady says, Chip, I want you to be the head coach, maybe he'll get talked into it. Because remember, he was head coach at UCLA and demoted himself to offensive coordinator.
Like NIL. It's a different game in the pros.
He doesn't want to be a head coach at all. He's just like, I just want to be in my cubicle
nerdery
with my computer, my X's and O's, in my nerdery. Just nerding off offensive coordinator shit. I don't want to deal with media. I don't want to do PR shit. I don't want to deal with budgets and meetings. It's like, I just want to be an offensive coordinator. So other than Tom Brady saying, Chip, I'm going to convince you to do it. Let's go to the Bunny Ranch and let's discuss some business. Short of that, I don't think Chip's going to be it. Dominic 5. If Patrick Graham was so great, another team would have hired him by now. Why hasn't another team hired him? we've had a couple. We've touched on this a couple times, Soto, but it bears repeating. There's the two theories, right? There's the two things. Well, one, he's gotten interviews and hasn't gone anywhere. We think that he's being groomed to be the head coach at some point. Like the 3 years with Pete Carroll would have made a lot of sense. It's like, PG, stick around, stay here. You know, you're not going to get any serious head coaching interviews. You'll get some Rooney Rule bullshit interviews, but you're not getting any serious ones right now. This Raiders defense is too bad, despite the fact that you've gotten the best out of them. They're still on paper, this defense is terrible. You're not going to get those opportunities. So stick around here. If you want to be head coach one day, play the long game with us. And I think that's how they've convinced PG to stay.
Yeah, I mean, look, PG was offered the Bengals DC job. He declined it because he was in the running for the Jaguars head coaching job. So it was him, Saleh, and Liam Cohen. So being hired, yeah, I get it. It's not like I understand where Dominic 5 is coming from, but it's very short-sighted. Not every good head. There's only what 32 of these jobs, right? And it's not like if you fire your defensive coordinator, it rarely does a head coach just randomly pluck a guy out of nowhere, especially if he's on another team. He's going to either promote from within or get a guy that that's not a defensive coordinator at somewhere else. It's not going to be a lateral move, right? And I get it, man. I understand. And it's easy to be right when you're being negative because more negative things can happen than positive. And Dominic 5 is traditionally one of those guys who is just extremely negative and then wants to call people out. So he's not a bad
I think it's a fair question.
It's not fair in the context that he's asking it because I've gone back and forth with him with discussion. He's saying that Patrick Graham sucks. He's not saying that he's not the caliber of a head coach. He's not saying it in the context of, oh, he's not being groomed. You guys are wrong. He's saying Patrick Graham is a shitty coach because I've talked to him before. That's what he's saying.
The what up Windbags is he may have it in bad context, but I think a good chunk of Raider Nation is asking that question curiously. Not a loaded question, but hey, question. If PG's so good, like how come he hasn't been picked up anywhere else?
Okay, take the name off and then just ask it quick because I know how he's asking it. Take the name off. Yes.
Yeah.
Now we're telling you.
I think a lot of Raider Nation's asking that question innocently.
Okay, I will give you one response. Go back to the beginning of this video and watch it again. But everything we say, just focus it on the defense. Because this defense is lacking talent. He doesn't have talent on this team. Who's going out there and blowing up and being a game wrecker? I mean, Spillane is, but let's be honest. There's a lot of good players that they've signed on that defense. It's not just him. So who else is going out there and being amazing that was on this team even before? Nobody. So there's no talent on in this defense.
Or vice versa. How many complete no-name schmucks did the Raiders pick up? And then after us, they've kind of been starters. Like Rocky is like there's two guys on the Lions DB core that were nobodies. Practice squad, undrafted, whoever, bullshit dudes. Patrick Graham coached them up, and now they're starters somewhere. Like they played their best ball here, and now Patrick Graham turned them into a viable NFL player, and now they're somewhere else, right? It's like that season where like every single season Derek Carr would get a wide receiver paid, right? Like he was just like some random guy whose career was over. Hey, Carr's got a pretty good deep ball, and you got that guy paid. Like that's Patrick Graham with a lot of guys too. Spillane was just kind of floating around nowhere land until he meshed up with Patrick Graham, and now he's making $30-something million with the Pats. So that's not like he was always good and he's good somewhere else. It's like, no, Name one guy who the Raiders signed that was a dud with us, and then stud somewhere else. It's always the other way around. A fucking nobody. Patrick Graham coached him up, and they got paid somewhere else. It's way more that than the other one. Last one. At this point, let's have AJ Cole punt it to Brock. He'd have more completions, yards, and touchdowns than Geno with less interceptions. Hey, you take your three best players, right? AJ Cole, Brock Bowers, and you have Maxx Crosby be like the long snapper or something. Let's just put the ball in your three best players' hands. Move it all around.
Do the Kelly Leak. Just have him play the whole entire outfield.
We had a in high school, it was called Batman, and it was a formation on extra points to try to lure them off sides or see if you can get an easy 2. And it was our tight end was the center, long snapped it to our backup quarterback who was the holder, and then our starting running back was next to him. And so they were all lined up, shotgun, and everyone else, the other 8 players, were all off 15 yards to the left, all on the line with a running back behind them. So if like the numbers were way off, the tight end would snap it directly diagonally to the running back, and he would run for the 2-point conversion. Or if it's off the other way, he'd snap it to the quarterback. The quarterback would do kind of an RPO where he'd either run, pitch it to the running back, or the tight end was running like a post. Do that. Let's do that. Let's have Brock be the quarterback. Let's have AJ Cole be the running back and Max be the long snapper. And just see what, or AJ Cole be the quarterback, Max be the long snapper, Brock be the running back. Just have our 3 best players. Just have some fun.
And the other running back is Ashton Jeanty, the one that's off to the side.
And Ashton Jeanty, 100%. Then and you only throw it to Ashton. Yeah, and you would only throw it to Ashton Jeanty if there was only like 3 defenders over there, right? Like you have like a 6-on-3. Even our old line should be able to beat a 6-on-3. Let's just do that.
It can't be any worse.
Right? We should be a special teams coordinator for the Raiders. All right, that's it for us. In case I get beheaded out here in Qatar for running my mouth and getting too drunk on $11 beers. But Soto's got you for the post show on Sunday and the watch along over at Raiders versus the World.
I'm going to be out of town.
Watch along, the whole 9 yards. We apologize. We've missed like 3 of the last 7 shows. Life's getting in the way. We went like 5 years, Soto, and I think we missed 1 or 2 over the course of the first 5 years of this show. So sorry, not sorry. It happens. But sorry, it won't happen. We're back on track, boys. Don't you worry. Until then, knock on wood if you're with me.
Well, look at you making it to the end of this video. You look like you want more. Go ahead and click the next video, and if you really love it, go ahead and subscribe.